Welcome, everyone, to Not In All In, episode 17, a show so much fun that we're not involved in the NFL lawsuits. Yeah. I don't want to repeat the same thing that I do every week. I think that's going to be my new tagline. You missed last week's, Dave, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah. I don't want to comment on that, but I no regrets.
Well, probably not a bad thing. Well, I'm Kirk Buchner along with Chris Mouradian and Longhorn Dave Whitlock. And Dave, first thing we're going to do is we're going to congratulate you.
Okay.
Indirectly. I mean, you had nothing to do with this. Or just say we're happy for you. King of the Hill is back and it doesn't suck. And Chris and I were talking pop culture after our last show, just how everyone's ruined by everything just sucks now. And I think this might be the first. I don't know if you call it a reboot or just like well, I guess it is a reboot.
Yeah, a continuation after how many years?
Yeah. And it's fun. It keeps everything sort of in mind from the past. Takes some shots in the future or look at the present, just how things have changed. I enjoyed it.
So no, it was one of my favorite shows. It started about the time I was in college, and The Simpsons was the popular cartoon at the time, and it kind of came on the scene a little bit like before South Park per se, but as a Texan, it really captured the essence that there's so much subtle humor in it. I mean, it's not subtle. Everybody can kind of get it because it does want to be that way, but so many little Texas things, the way people are, the way they act. I mean, everybody loves Boomhauer because there's always that guy that you don't know where he works or what he does, and he mumbles, but he's entertaining. And then the shows were just super creative in the way that they set things up. And, it was simple humor, easy to get, probably irreverent at times in terms of, I don't know, today's society, there probably would be some cancel culture that would go after some of the things that they talked about. I just remember the first episode where Joseph's, Dale's son, but then you see
John Redcorn,
John Redcorn, and you're like, geez, what's going on here? And it's just never said, but anyway, no, it's good. I haven't watched it, tuned into the reboot, but I heard Nolan Ryan was on, so that's a good thing. Or like the character is Nolan Ryan. The characters are Longhorn fans, which I'm a fan of, and the Cowboys fans, which are always fun to poke fun at. So anyway, it was a great show, and I think if they do it right, which it sounds like they are, it's good to have it back.
Yeah, so I mean that's sort of the good, but Chris, I have an alert on my phone, and whenever one of our names comes up, and I'm sorry this is happening to you.
And that is?
Oh, you didn't hear? Okay.
No.
A bill just went through in the Wisconsin state legislature. And it was sort of like put through, and it says like, due to his constant disrespect of the Milwaukee Brewers, we're looking to have Chris Mouradian's Wisconsin state status as a Wisconsinian removed.
All right.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's a Democrat or Republican who put this through.
Yeah, well, it could be either. The Brewers, sucked up to both sides there to get their tax money through. So
now I've talked to some people in Canada, and so they like the fact you're more of a hockey fan. You may not be able to sort of like wear that one anymore, but says the Canadian with the Team USA hockey. I don't care. It was the most impressive win in all of sports, the biggest upset ever.
Dave pointed that out earlier today. And
I tweeted about it just moments ago.
Yep.
So either way, we're looking into that. I don't know if it's going to go through, but
I think our co-host Dave here, he said he has an extra room for me down there, right?
Absolutely, come on down. We'll go to baseball games that don't involve the Brewers. We'll get some barbecue. There's a severe lack of cheese of the quality you're expected, but
that's fine with me.
All right, but I think
bring down some cheese so the quesadillas are better.
It'd probably melt by the time we got to Oklahoma.
That's possible. Although, when you're going down there, if Rob Manfred gets his way, you better hurry because I guess you're going to be seeing a lot more of Colorado, huh, Dave?
Oh, geez, I didn't. Maybe that should be the subject of the show. I wasn't a fan of any of the realignment stuff that they're talking about, but
hopefully that doesn't come to pass. But
it's all speculation.
It's all speculation. So, what do you think is bigger? The amount of players on an NFL roster or the NFL legal team?
Legal team, not even close.
Yeah. So those are the two big things I really want to talk about. One that I think could be massively huge and obviously not in a good way for the National Football League. Not that it's going to matter. This league is untouchable. I mean, I think you could find out that what other team was owned by the Al Qaeda, and that would still be fine. This league would still survive. You know,
yep.
It's just that ingrained in our culture now, especially our betting culture, but that's neither here nor there. But it involves Jon Gruden, who, let's not forget, this man was a rock star. He was a rock star coach. He was a rock star announcer. He very well was on a Hall of Fame path.
Yeah, you can say that. He had the Super Bowl championship already under his belt. He was just starting up with his second franchise, I believe, and obviously had the history with being an assistant coach prior to, a very successful assistant coach prior to taking over the Buccaneers job. So, yeah, he was well respected as a coach around the league.
Well, last week, the Nevada Supreme Court successfully blocked the case from going to arbitration. And what that basically meant, because I had to look all this, I'm not a legal mind at all. So this is where I should have asked Evan to come, but it's a little early for him because he was actually, he went to law school. So now he sells insurance, but that's another story for another time. I studied English and I qualified for any job involving a paper hat. So yeah, that wasn't my brightest college path. But anyway, long story short, the NFL in their constitution basically said that almost everything has to go through them. And how do you do that when Roger Goodell is also one of the people that he's suing? So if it goes to an arbitration, Goodall, sorry. I was thinking about Dwight Gooden today a lot. I had a lot of what ifs in my head about that Mets 86 team and how that only won the World Series. But anyway, how is that fair that he gets to help decide the case against them? Obviously, they said no bueno, and here we are. And so let's do a recap of how we got here, because a lot of people might have forgotten. I've forgotten a few things of this too. So the case basically stemmed over an investigation of the Washington Commanders that the NFL was doing over a very toxic environment that they had. I think a lot of us can agree, the three of us here and those maybe watching at home or listening, Dan Snyder was a boob. And him out of the league is a net positive in every way, shape, or form. And there were other issues with that organization, and he was on top of it. So as they were investigating, lots and lots of emails came out. Actually, lots of emails were looked at. Only ones pertaining to Jon Gruden came out. The ones that he sent to the then Washington Commanders president, Bruce Allen. And again, the only ones out of over 600,000, I believe, that somehow got leaked. So in Gruden's emails, and I'm not going to defend some of these emails because they're not great. He was denouncing the emergence of female referees. I don't know why. I mean, a woman can blow a call as good as any man can. We got that in baseball now. Does any of us really care? No, just get it right. We don't care.
I'll let that one slide.
Okay, well,
your terminology was just
what? My terminology was wrong. What did I get wrong?
Could be taken several different ways, maybe.
What? That people can blow calls?
Yes, Kurt. Just
go ahead and roll.
Do I have to? No. What do I have to go back and say? Like, what did I say wrong that I'm going to get canceled for this time?
No, you didn't say anything wrong. It's just
I didn't say blow people. I said blow calls.
It's just it's a Monday.
All right, that's fine. Well, here's what you won't like. I know this about you, Chris. He was upset about the leniency of players being allowed to kneel during the national anthem. Whatever. This one I didn't know. upset about how he claimed in an email that Goodell forced the Rams to draft Michael Sam.
I remember that being accusation at the time.
I don't remember that at all. I remember that he didn't particularly have the constitution for the NFL, despite being he won the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, but it just didn't work out. I think maybe the pressure was too much. And then a few years later, Carl Nassib came out, ironically enough, under Jon Gruden. And I don't think anyone gave a crap. But that's neither here nor there, really. But there's really two things that stood out in this. The first is how he referred to then NFLPA head DeMaurice Smith as Dummery Smith, who has lips like Michelin tires, not Michigan, sorry. Michelin tires. Okay. Obviously, some people took that as racial. I can see why. He claimed that it's just a term that he used for people with loose lips, with rubber lips. I've never heard that term before. Is it possible that Gruden is telling the truth here? Sure, it's possible. I don't know. I don't know the man. I never heard any racist accusation about him before or even since. Have you guys, or am I missing something?
No, I've heard. No.
Okay, so I mean, it's possible. Either way, it was a dumb thing to say, but and then you have to ask yourself, if that GM was black, would he have said that? Maybe he would have worded that differently. Perhaps. Don't know. Doesn't matter. That was really the one that sort of put the nail in his coffin. But the one that I found far more interesting is the multiple emails. Yeah, Dave, you're smiling.
Here we go.
Yeah, where he constantly referred to Roger as a certain part of the female anatomy. Yeah, and a gay slur multiple times. Long story short, Jon Gruden does not think very much of the manhood of Roger Goodell. To be fair, neither do I, but I don't need to use those terms to an email to any GM. I can just say right now, Roger Goodell, I don't think you're much of a man and much of a commissioner. I don't. Saying that again. How is it that with all the hate that he sort of did on Roger, it's just a coincidence that this is all that was leaked? Just him? Nobody else? Nobody else. Nothing. I don't, coincidences don't generally happen. And something this near perfect. I mean, it can, but probably not. Gruden left. He was forced to resign. My understanding is because he survived that first week, and Goodell went to Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, and said, look, you got to do something. We got a lot more emails coming. And a lot of those other ones did come out. This was targeted. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. And Gruden left pissed, attacked, feeling that his reputation was ruined, which it was. Mm-hmm. It totally was. I don't know how he gets another coaching job in any capacity. Maybe in college, right? I mean, I think there's talks that could happen. Saying that, it's always going to be in the back of your mind. Especially if I'm black, I'd think that.
So another minor aspect, I guess, to this was when when he was emailing Bruce Allen, he wasn't a coach at the time. He was out of the league. He was working for ESPN.
Yep, so, that's true too. Good point.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, ESPN, NFL, they obviously have a very incestuous relationship, more so now than at the time. But
right, yeah, let me talk.
But at the same time, how is that? I mean, outside of context, or not context, but content. Mm-hmm. If you or I were to say these things about the NFL and Goodell or DeMaurice Smith and things like that, we don't have the NFL history at the time. Would they have, if he'd stayed at ESPN, would they have gone after him the same way? You know, or only was this because he was back in the league as a coach then when they decided they were coming after him for what he had done or what he had said?
If this was initiated by Goodell, I'd say yes.
So you think even if he hadn't got the job with the Raiders, that he would have still
put the same pressure on ESPN?
You think so? Okay.
I mean, just if my theory is correct, I don't know what that it is or not. I mean, I'm just sure seems like this was mostly orchestrated by Roger. Either way, he's sort of like getting back at somebody who he felt has disrespected him, albeit privately. Because we're going to say that Goodell's above all that sort of thing. He's not a petty man. Come on.
Definitely. Now, yeah, my comments are, okay, first of all, I think in today's society, even 2, 3, 5 years ago, you just don't put anything out there that can be snipped, snapped, retweeted, you know, all those type of things, because people do it all the time and then they have to shut down their account. So, you know, shame on Gruden for what he did. Tough to say how much it was out of spite or anger, deserved or not. But legally, well, the fact that you pointed out, Kirk, that certain things were leaked that shouldn't have been, that really wrecked his career, is a legitimate legal case. And you can't, in my opinion, the arbitration process is starting to get its tentacles into everything. I'm guessing when you sign a rental car agreement, you probably sign something that says if something happens, to go to an arbitration process in which Hertz rental car president is going to decide whether you wreck the car or not and how much you owe. Same thing with just about anything. We all click and sign stuff to do arbitration processes, and the NFL is not above that, certainly with their empire. So I think he has a good case. I'm glad it's going to be put in front of some impartiality. You know, nobody comes out looking great in this, so it's egg on the NFL's face for this one and the next subject we'll talk about, that they just want it to go away, but it's not. I think it's fair that he gets his chance to bring it forward to some sort of independent jury or however the courts take it from here. But at the same time, you know, don't say those things, man, and or else you may have to face the consequences.
No, I totally agree. I don't see anyone really defending
right
that Gruden had said. I think you can defend the man and just say, well, maybe it's things that he shouldn't have thought said. I don't know. I mean, like, I
don't write anything down. Don't put anything in social
media. No, I mean, but I'm sure there's a lot of people though, in that orbit who are now very, very concerned, because this can go to court unless the NFL comes out and settles. Which
they probably will, I think, by the way.
He can probably claim, based on the amount of money he lost, because he was in year 3 of a $100 million contract.
Yeah, it was a big contract, yeah.
So it was a $100 million contract. So he missed out on that. Following anything else, I mean, his reputation, he can't go back to broadcasting. And when he was at ESPN, he was the highest paid guy there. He was making $6.5 million. I might be off on that, but I know he was the highest paid. That much I know at one point in time. So that revenue, that future revenue, was gone. So I read from one article, I don't know how accurate this is, but that he could be in line for 200 to 300 million based on losses if they feel that he was targeted. But the thing that interests me far more than any of that is this team is seeking access to all 600,000 emails from that investigation. And what the hell else is in there? It's probably a lot more and a lot worse than Jon Gruden saying that he doesn't like DeMaurice Smith and used a racial slur or an insensitive racial analogy.
Reference, yeah.
Yes.
No, same thing in a number of cases. That's why I think both sides will want to shut it down as much. And what the numbers are, the NFL has the money and Gruden doesn't need the money. It's a matter of principle.
Why I think he's going all
right. Well, we'll see. I kind of hope it does, because I'd love to see the NFL have to eat crow and off their high perch where they just kind of dictate what happens. I'd love to see that. And I'm no fan of Gruden, not a fan of what he said, but to where this all started was, with you saying, hey, this is a good representative case that there's some injustice going on, and he's raising it.
Yeah, and I think that's what I know he wanted a few years ago. I don't know how deep that anger and desire is right now, but if there's a bunch of other awful things that comes out, which there would be if this goes public,
right?
I mean, 600,000, that's got to be. It just has to be, because then you're probably looking at emails from Roger. Dan Snyder, right?
I would guess Roger would be more careful just because he knows.
Well, maybe him, but maybe not people right under him.
No, that's right. Yeah, somewhere in there's going to be an onion layer that gets
right there, or something like
be good.
We'll take care of you. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is I'll wager that if all this comes out, what Gruden did will be not even the top 10.
Yeah. I'd be willing to bet that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the NFL lets us get to discovery where those 600,000 emails are publicly disclosed or the contents are discussed. I think this will be, well, the hope is, that it gets shut down before then. And I think if they work out the numbers with Gruden, that this will all go away with probably an apology in there as well. But we'll see.
Oh, you hear the term "fuck you" money, right? I think Gruden says, "You know what? No, I got money, but you know what? Fuck you."
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong on this. We'll see. We will see. But this is going to be interesting. The other one that sort of went through that's now allowed to go as past the first level. I don't understand your American system that takes this long. By the way,
it's
for all of us.
It's horrible. It's by design. It's horrible, but I'd say it works, but it doesn't work. But here we are.
How dare you? I watch Law and Order, and all the time
That's
it's right. 42 minutes plus commercials.
And everything gets settled. Yeah,
I got to hand it to Olivia Benson. My God, the amount of sex crimes and awful things that she's seen, and she's still there doing her best to raise a kid and sometimes date. I couldn't do it.
And she fights for the victims every time.
Every single time, maintained her moral compass.
Yeah.
My God.
Amazing.
You are my
Hollywood couldn't write a script more perfect than that.
It's almost like it's a TV show. But the other one is Brian Flores. Currently, he is the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, and he originated a class action lawsuit a few years ago against, at that time, Miami, Houston, Denver, and the Giants. And it was for discrimination in hiring practices. For what people may remember, this kind of got, I wonder if the catalyst, I think a lot of us wonder if the catalyst was when Bill Belichick erroneously congratulated him on getting the Giants job, but he meant to send that text to Brian Daboll.
Yeah, the old wrong email in the cache.
Well, I mean, they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
It's Brian. Yeah.
You type BRIA and then it fills out and you think you got the right one, potentially getting ahead.
It can happen.
Yeah.
But I just want to talk about the one that got away, because this went to arbitration. The one against Miami, it's not part of that anymore. And this is damn lucky for the NFL. I read that the original claim. And part of it, when I was looking at it, I thought to myself, and again, I'm no lawyer or anything like that. I thought it's going to be kind of hard for you to sort of prove racism on this particular case. This is specifically for Flores. But the real thing that I thought was a far bigger case is he alleged that the Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, offered him in 2019 $100,000 for every game he lost. Yeah. Which he didn't
I remember that.
Yeah. This is
for draft position, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's far bigger, far worse, because he's basically saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Because, it's kind of hard to get a job when you're making bad decisions that people can see. And you go 2-14.
Yeah, it was the tank for 2 a year, wasn't it?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they ended up with 2-0 anyway, so.
Right, yeah. So that's the one I wanted to learn more about. That already went to arbitration. So we're not going to learn anything more of that. So, like, for me, I mean, I think when I hear that about Stephen Ross got away with everything on this one, because that would have been far more interesting. But here we are 2 years later, and he's joined by two other people, Steve Wilks, who was the Jets defensive coordinator, and Ray Horton. He's not coaching anymore. He won 2 Super Bowls with the Steelers as a secondary coach. And here we have moving forward. And so, like, I don't know how you necessarily prove in each case. Again, anyone who's a legal expert, please comment. I'd like to hear from you. I don't know how in each case you say, well, I didn't get the job because I was black, or this guy got the job because they're white. Now, if we look at pure numbers, which a lot of people would do, clearly we see that the people on the field are not represented nearly equally or even close to that in the executive position and coaching position. And we've had, God, what year did the league become predominantly black? All my life, and I'm 53, or I'm going to be 53. So
let's see, roll into the 70s, and that was the case for the most part.
Yeah, so it just never trickled up. I know they tried with the Rooney Rule, but that never seemed to really generate a whole lot. So I don't know how you win this case. I don't know how you lose this case. This is not going to go anywhere. In my opinion, this is something that the NFL will definitely want to make go away, and they will throw money more at people who might feel more disrespected, but they're not unemployed. With Horton, he last worked in the USFL as a head coach. So I don't know what opportunities he missed out. You know, I couldn't even find out anything. And Wilks is currently the defensive coordinator. So it's not like these two people are hurting for work. They're not hurting for work at all.
So one thing I want to point out here, all three of the gentlemen there involved in this case are defensive minds. And the league has moved dramatically to wanting to have a very offensive minded head coach.
Yeah, okay. But and that's altogether possible. And
whether that's the case or not, it just could naturally be the way of the league when you see the people that were hired in those positions. I mean, the Giants hired Brian Dable. The Texans, Dave, you'd have to help me out with that one down there.
Yeah, well, they went through a battery of coaches, some of whom were African American, including Romeo Crennel. There's a special teams coach they hired. Now they have the coach from the 49ers, the defensive coordinator, defensive-minded guy. But yeah, no, they certainly. History says that it wasn't that for the Texans. I can only speak.
Sure. The Broncos, they went through obviously the Nathaniel Hackett experience. I don't think that was in 2019 though, but when alleging this all happened. But I just wonder how much of that is teams wanting to find that next Sean McVay, Zach Taylor, Matt Flores.
It all be coincidental,
KOC.
But just sometimes the numbers don't add up, especially when I look at the NBA, which had a very similar problem, and now it's half and half. So, I mean, I don't know. And again, we're 3 older white guys talking about this. I know, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think virtually every fan I've ever met could care less what their head coach's color is, as long as they're good.
The Texans had O'Brien, which had some success, and then
O'Brien from Penn State, yeah,
Crennel, and then Cully, and then
in
2022 it was Lovie Smith.
Well, that's the guy who I thought should be. If anyone was going to be doing a case like that, leads to go to a good record, then he gets fired, and then no one hired him. Like what?
And then D'Amico Ryan's now, so I think it's about 4 straight African American coaches since, and all good reason they went after O'Brien. He had been a coordinator at the NFL. He succeeded at the college level. But yeah, the the racism analysis is hard to analyze because you can have two good candidates, and if one's one color, one's the other, you go back to gender. If one's a male, one's a female, one's defensive minded and one's offensive minded, you can make up all kinds of reasons why one was higher than the other. I like to think that most teams would hire the person they think is best to win for their team. There's too much at stake. That being said, I can't overlook the fact that you want to look at somebody as somebody that you've seen a predecessor win as, like a white coach, an offensive coach, somebody that had offensive coordinator, a former quarterback. I mean, there's even a case, where most NFL coaches weren't superstars in the NFL. There's very few Hall of Fame football players and baseball players and basketball players. Lenny Wilkins and some of those guys are exceptions in basketball, but that were really good basketball. It's usually the backup catcher or the backup quarterback, that sat there for 10 years backing up Dan Marino, that figured out, that watched a lot of football. So there's just a lot of factors into it. I appreciate that the case is going forward. I think it's going to be very, very hard to prove. Unlike the last case, there's some concrete evidence they can look at and say, here's things that were done at certain times that shouldn't have been done. It's hard to go back to an interview room and say, why did you hire this one instead of that one? And I think, Chris's point's great that sometimes you want an offensive minded coach. Sometimes you want an earlier career coach that might have new ideas, instead of pulling a Lovie Smith that's kind of been around, that what you're going to get. It's not going to be super innovative or bring anything in like a McVay or some other guys.
One thing though, part of that lawsuit, they're looking to sort of like tackle systemic racism. And one thing that was super interesting and the NFL did do, and it didn't get nearly attention it should. I think I talked about that more than a lot of other people did, who you think it'd be right up their alley. And that was the concussion lawsuit. And what they did there, for those not familiar, they would go to the players in that after the case, and they deliberately lowballed the black players. If that's not systemic racism, right, I don't know what is.
Then you have the evidence, you can bring forward documents, et cetera, and so forth. That's more objective than subjective.
Yeah, compared to X player to Y player, and see the direct comparison as opposed to the accusation, the feeling, the implication. That's the right word. I'm not the English guy around here, so.
Yeah, I didn't get me anywhere. Got me in the same room with the two of you. So there you go.
There's an English major around here. The guy from Canada.
Yeah, but our English is correct.
That's right. You got the.
How dare you not add an extra U in?
Oh, you got you're straight from the Queen, or now King. Sorry, it's been a few years.
God save the Queen.
You're born under the Queen. I'll at least say that.
I was. That is true. Her face is still on our ducats, but yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so that's I would like to see this one. I'd like to see go to Discovery, but it won't. I think this is going to be tucked away pretty quickly. Not necessarily. Well, I think mainly because I think the two of those three, they're still employed and they still have a lot left to offer the NFL. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they might be convinced, you know what, we'll take care of you in the back end. Because that could very well happen. It's a very shady organization. It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hate hypocrites, but I hate myself when I watch football, the Olympics, and FIFA. Because
three of the most corrupt organizations.
Yep, but I love my sports. Is there anything else that we want to sort of like touch before we call it a show?
Anybody vote for the USA Hall of Fame today?
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yes, you have 70 more days to vote on the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. That's something that all three of us are a part of. And what that is just the way it sounds. You can vote on who you think is the best American athlete ever. and we're going into class 3, which will be the top 25 athletes who will join legends like Babe Ruth,
Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali,
who was the #1 vote getter in our inaugural class.
Yeah, Jack Nicklaus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the list is
the
list is on the website. You can check it out at the usahof.com. You see the first 2 classes, and
you can even vote for Roger Goodell. He's actually a nominee on the contributor list.
You can do the commissioner double and pull in Bud Selig as well.
He is on there.
I'll burn down the Hall of Fame before I let that happen.
Well, it's just online, and and I live in Seattle, so I don't know, another fire here. It's not no one's going to notice.
Hey, and if you're feeling
just inviting you, yeah, come on, do that here. So
if you're feeling really frisky, you can throw in Gary Bettman too.
I did. He's on that. He's a nominee. Hey, Bettman, as much as I can rack on him all, and I have, he got into the Hockey Hall of Fame and then afterwards did a lot more. He did.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He's bigger than ever. A lot of Canadians hate him, rightfully so, but he's rowing the league. His vision has come to fruition. His vision has come to fruition.
Didn't even know it.
That's right. That's what I should have went to. I should have gone into slam poetry. I hear there's a lot of money in that.
There's not, Kirk. There's not. Your bubble. Nah.
Well, with that, my signature close. Wherever you are, wherever it may be, make today count, because it never comes again. Take care, everybody.